Yeah, we're live here and yes, so we've got learners joining in. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning to everyone who's here. Just start giving in your introductions on the chat. Welcome to this session. You're going to be understanding how ML solutions are built without code today. Just let me know your name and the city that you're from. Okay, hi Sham, Chandrakant, let's see. Sarabjeet, hi. We see you in a lot of sessions. Hi, Ruben. Hi, Mohan. Okay, someone from Boston. It'd be great if you can leave your names. Hi, Joseph. Nikhil, hi. Hasnain, hi. Eleanor. Okay, all right. Okay, great, great, great. Hi, Mahmood. Hi, Peter from New York City. Good to have you guys. Good morning to you. Okay, hi, Barry. Okay, great, 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 great. So keep those introductions coming. Yes, we're just getting started with the session today. The session is going to last about an hour, and you're going to understand how you can build AI ML solutions with no code. And we're going to be doing that with Armando. I'll introduce him to you very, very shortly. But before that, yeah, keep those introductions coming. There's just a little more that we would like to know about you. So I'm going to be launching a quick poll, understanding what your work experience is and what your work domain is. So two polls actually, and they're going to be coming in back to back. So just take a quick minute to answer this poll for me on Zoom. You'll see that on your screens right now. Let me know how many years of experience you carry, and this can be overall work-ex, right? So it's needn't be limited to just AI ML experience or anything specific to AI or ML. Just let us know your overall work-ex. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to keep that live for exactly 30 more seconds. Yes, so we're also live on LinkedIn. In case you're watching us there, just leave us a quick hi and also let us know your work experience. Put in your questions if you have any on the live chat, and we'll be answering that towards the end. Okay, great. A lot of you with more than 5 years. Yeah, great, great, great. Can you share the LinkedIn event here? All right, so I'm going to be sharing the link to the live stream here as well. But remember, if you have to get a certificate to the webinar, you'll have to come back to Zoom. Anyway, here is the WorkX. Armando, I hope you're able to see the results. We've got equal proportion of people who are students and people who are more than 5 years. Okay, great. Now let us understand your work domain as well. Now let us know, let us know what your work domain is. Just what is your current job role, right? Where do you work? Which field do you work in? Tech, data, or is it marketing, business facing roles, operations, or other functions? Just let me know through the poll here, just for us to understand your background. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, Sarth, Nikhil, nice to have everyone who's joining in. We're done with the introductions. We're about to get started. Um, you guys can refrain yourself from sharing your LinkedIn profiles. Keep the conversations relevant to what's happening in the session. So I'm going to end the poll right here, and yes, I'm going to share these results as well, and I'm going to keep them live. Quick ground rules. Like I said, make sure your discussions are relevant to what the session's agenda is. If you have questions, please use the Q&A box and we'll get them answered towards the end. Now, if you've already posted a question and you see that it's not being answered, do not worry. You don't have to post it again. Make sure you wait till the end to get your question answered, and we'll combine a lot of questions and then pass it on to our speaker so that we're not asking the same questions again. Yeah. Use the chat box to interact with the speaker. Like say if he has questions or he has insights to share, use the chat to engage. But use the Q&A box to post any questions you have, whether it is about what is being covered today or whether it's about the course that we're about to discuss. Okay. Now, this session is being recorded. I've also shared the link to the live stream, but you will receive the link to the recording and the webinar certificate the next 24 hours. So for giving you a certificate, we'll collect your names again towards the end. So make sure you stay till the end to give in your names and also receive the recording link. Okay, so those are just some quick ground rules, just in case you miss. Remember, always post the questions on the Q&A box and do not spam the Q&A box with a lot of them, with the same questions again and again. Yes. So let me quickly introduce you to Simplilearn before I introduce Armando. To you, Simplilearn offers courses in various domains. You can upskill yourself in AI and machine learning, in Gen AI, in data science, business analytics. So we've got a bunch of certifications, PG programs, and also courses that are aligned to getting you to build a certain career path. Let's say you want to become an AI engineer. Let's say you want to become a data scientist or a data analyst. We've got courses that help you prepare for these roles. So head to simplylearn.com and find out whichever course is suitable to you. Now, today we'll be discussing about the no-code AI and ML specialization course, which is launched in collaboration with Purdue University. We'll take you through the enrollment steps. We'll help you understand the curriculum and how this course is relevant, in your career. How is it going to help you upscale and find better opportunities? Yeah. So with that, let me introduce you to Armando, who's been very kind to accept our invitation today as well. So he comes with an experience of more than a decade in data, AI, data science, cloud platform engineering. He's also a trainer with Simplilearn and many other organizations in the same fields that I mentioned. He also leads ethical AI and data science training programs at Digital Ethos Academy. He's also the founder and CEO of Ubhuru Technologies, and he's driven a lot of digital strategies here. So welcome, Armando, once again. I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll go ahead with the session.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I will start sharing my screen if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'm going to stop.
Fantastic. So, okay. Thank you very much. First, I'm very excited to have you, all of you here. As mentioned earlier, I have over a decade in artificial intelligence experience, which I know is a lot to say because there's not a lot of people that had a lot of experience in AI. I had the pleasure of getting a right head start into AI since the first certifications available out there. I have been working extensively in cloud platform engineering, data, artificial intelligence, data science, ethical AI, and now agentic AI. I have led different training programs. I've done implementations. I do a lot of consulting as part of Digital Ethos Solutions, which is another company that I founded, where we do implementations of AI solutions with actual, customers, like for all sets of customers. The reason I mentioned you these is because I would like you to understand, the background of not only myself, but some of my customers and how they have been evolving. Okay. Uh, like several years ago, like when I got started with artificial intelligence, it was everything like very low level code. When I started using TensorFlow, by the way, TensorFlow is a library to do neural networks. I remember that it was like super low level. Like you actually had to design in code over the flow of operations to train a model. Like very expensive. Then you start seeing all these higher level APIs where coding it's a lot easier. Libraries are a lot easier to use. Now we are enter this age where you don't even have to know programming to actually train models, which again is uh, is impressive. I've had the pleasure also to teach for different universities, other different institutions besides Simplilearn. So that gives me also the opportunity to understand what are the things that students will like the most. In most cases, most people, they just want to start creating right away. Uh, Technology continues to evolve so fast. Not everyone has time to spend like 3 or 4 years in a program to start understanding how to code. They want, okay, no, I need an AI model right away for my organization, for my own business, for my ideas. I want something that can classify images. I want to take satellite images, open source, and know what objects are there to find patterns in, I don't know, in trade, maybe. Some of you say, well, I'd like to invest in crypto, but I would like to know the patterns of, what cryptocurrency to invest or stock. So I know that a lot of you are super eager to start using AI and machine learning, but you are not necessarily, or people are not necessarily interested in developing a lot of coding skills because most people are like, I'm not going to be a programmer or an application developer. I just want to do AI. And really, in today's landscape that has been evolving so fast, even if we look at applications or tools like Hugging Face that have like tons of models are pre-trained, platforms like AutoML from Google, we are seeing so much change and so much demand for artificial intelligence and machine learning solutions that it's hard to keep up. So traditional artificial intelligence and machine learning development typically requires specialized coding and a lot of data science expertise. And that creates a bottleneck, especially when your team is small or when your resources are limited. So this webinar addresses that challenge because that will empower you from a lot of different backgrounds. I mean, I see that some of you are in marketing, business analysis, domain experts, project managers, so that you can build robust AI models without single line of code, okay? This democratization of artificial intelligence and machine learning is enabling, is fostering broader collaboration, will help you to accelerate time to market, will also reduce costs, of course, right? So there are a lot of benefits, by the way, when we talk about no code like no code AI and ML. So before that, just to make sure that I set the right context, remember that a model is a mathematical representation of the world, right? Of data that we collect. Typically, in a traditional project of artificial intelligence, matter of fact, let me show you how, so in code, how does it look? How complex would that be? How much do I need to understand? By the way, I will share this link. This link is completely open source. You can take a look at it. You can use it. This is something that I have created. But if you see, there's actually a lot of code. It's preparing your environment with all the libraries, acquire your data through Python, creating APIs, or Excel files, or connecting to a database. Then, as a data scientist, is look at everything you would have to do, right? looking to the variables, looking for imbalancing, looking for correlations, doing a lot of data science stuff to make sure that your data has a quality expected. Do you all these code, and you see this is limited code, by the way. This is not like full-blown project. This is a template. But then you look at how to prepare your data for machine learning algorithm to find a model needs to be modified in a way that the algorithm understands it. And that requires a lot of analysis. So it's preparing all your data, making sure that you deal with missing values with strings and letters and pixels and video, right? In a way that you can fit it to algorithm. There are tons of algorithms, a lot of them. So now you have to choose the algorithm, and that requires a lot of coding, and then you have to tune them. So you see there's a lot of code. Now, with this approach, the goal is that you don't need to do any of that, okay? So that means that now you will have the ability to use no-code applications that will do all that for you with no code. In some cases, with just drag and drop, like with Google Cloud or Amazon's SageMaker Canvas, is just literally drag and drop. Drag your text here or drag your data sources here, and it will produce a model for you, and that you can inspect, by the way. And by the way, you can later deploy it, because deployment, you also need code. Anyway, you can see that can lead to a lot of overhead, tons of understanding of different libraries. But when you do no-code artificial intelligence in MA, you can now first empower a lot of cross-functional teams to actively participate in AI projects. It's no longer only the machine learning engineers, data scientists. Now everyone can participate. It lowers that barrier to entry. So that allows you, as the main experts, to actually make direct contributions. It helps with a lot, like very rapid prototyping and agile iterations. You can quickly move from ideation to an actual working prototype. You can gather feedback a lot easier, a lot faster. You can iterate models on real-world insights. It reduces your need to rely on coding skills. You can, which is what I want to do. We want to focus on a high-level strategy. You want to focus on innovation. You want to focus on value creation. Okay, so that's the actual goal. Okay. Now there are tons of different use cases, right? I mean, these are just few examples. For example, in marketing, we can look at customer segmentation, campaign improvement on optimization, personalized recommendations. For healthcare, for example, we can focus on diagnostics, on patient trend analysis, on predictive modeling, for example, for patient risk. That's another use case. In finance, we see fraud detection, credit scoring, maybe even rhythmic trading insights, right? Or portfolio analysis. Human resources, besides analytics, we can look at talent acquisition analytics, workforce planning, churn prediction. Sorry about that. In supply chain, for example, inventory optimization, route planning, demand and supply matching. So the beauty of no code in AI is that it will allow you as experts from a lot of different domains to test and validate your ideas without always needing a dedicated team of data scientists or software engineers. Okay. Now, typically, who is this useful for? There are like 4 different big categories of people that are most suitable for these type of webinars. One is most likely domain experts. Okay, domain experts like healthcare professionals, financial experts. If you're in marketing, if you're in operations, because you have critical subject matter expertise and knowledge. And you can more easily identify real world scenarios and make a better interpretation of the model, of the output of the model in your context, which again is fantastic. So for one is domain experts. Sometimes also for business analysts and project managers to translate business objectives into an AI problem statement. Also maybe to help them coordinate the data collection and communicate with stakeholders. That's other profile. So domain experts, project managers, business analysts. But this is also applicable to technical people like data stewards, IT professionals, to help them manage data governance, security, platform integration. That way you can ensure a smooth functioning of no-code AI tools within your infrastructure, okay? Finally, of course, executives and decision makers. This is fantastic for them because they can oversee the alignment of AI and the return on investment, and they can also evaluate the impact of AI-driven insights on specific business outcomes, okay? So again, this is some use cases. This is democratizing AI, so very excited me here. So there are a series of steps, and we will follow through all the steps on how to get started with no-code AI and ML. As you see, we have a series of steps from define the business problem, collect and prepare data, choose the platform, build the model, validate the model, deploy the model, and then monitor the solution. What we're going to do for the next maybe 25 to 30 minutes will be to go through each one of these steps. Okay? We go through these steps, then we'll open it for questions and answers, and we'll start wrapping up. Okay? So let's start with the first step of the process, which is, by the way, the most important one. Okay? When we identify the problem statement is, well, first, let me tell you what this matters. Well-defined problem statement is always the foundation of any successful AI project, okay? If you don't have clarity of objectives, metrics, constraints, it doesn't matter how good your technology is, you will always struggle to deliver something meaningful, okay? So start with your problem statement, okay? Now, what is the best way to approach this? Well, first, you need to identify specific business problems, okay? What is you want to improve? Now, typically problems are associated with increasing productivity, increasing effectiveness, efficiency, compliance, progress, and expansion, okay? So those are the typical 6 big categories of problems. And you need to make sure that you identify what is it you want to improve or what is it you want to solve. For example, let's say that you in sales, like increase sales by 10% or reduce support call times by 20% or increase market penetration by 5%. Okay, so you need to be very, very clear in the problem, in the business problem with measurable metrics, okay, that align to your goals, okay? So in this case, you will choose all those cases, all those use cases where AI ML can provide real, quantifiable value. Now here, of course, you need any code. You need just to make sure that you have a vision, a strategic mindset, okay? You also want to break down problems into smaller objectives, okay? For example, if you're in the marketing department, you may want to improve customer retention and then you can have a sub-objective that could be to predict customer churn within the next 3 months, for example, okay? So be clear, have a very clear vision on what you want to solve, what metric you want to affect, what the organizational goals you want to impact, okay? Also, collaborate with stakeholders. Involve domain experts, involve business analysts, involve IT, so that you don't have your own unique perspective, okay? Include perspective so that you can start collecting requirements and make sure that your solution is holistic, okay? Also, you may want to make sure you define key performance indicators, success metrics, like, I don't know, return on investment, accuracy, like specific metrics. You also want to make sure that you have some feasibility checks, like proof of concept, like evaluate data quality and availability, and understand also your budget, time constraints, technology limitations. Okay, so this is very important. Something you'll see right here in this link that I shared at the top is very important. Understand the business problem. Okay, there's also a link here that you can use to start understanding in a broader sense for complex solutions how to gather requirements. Okay, and again, I know this is very comprehensive, this is very detailed, but at least we'll let you know what to look for. Okay. The next part is somebody collecting your data and prepare the data. When we start training or when we come up with a model, remember that the model is the mathematical representation of your data. Okay, generalize this so that instead of having all your data, think of a model as a summary, as a mathematical summary of your data. Which means that if you don't have high quality data, you will not have a good model. Now, what does it mean to have high quality data? High quality data means that your data is complete, that your data is accurate, that your data is meaningful, that your data is up to date. That means that you have high quality data that is a factual representation of the behavior you want to understand. So it's very, very, as a matter of fact, I would say that step one and step two are the most important. If you fail in either or, then most likely your project will be successful. Now, of course, here you need coding skills. Your case with AI on no code AI ML. For data scientists, this is where actually all the coding starts, okay? So it's important to understand what different data sources you have available, whether if it's a database, if it's another application, if it's a folder, if it's a file, if it's a web page, do web scraping. So it's important to understand where the data is coming from. Then, for example, here you can combine CRM, customer relationship management system data, maybe with web analytics, or maybe with sensor data, with Internet of Things. So it's important to understand where your data is coming from, and start, pretty much consolidating it. Then another important part is the pre-processing and cleaning. Remember that pre-processing means models, algorithms that will extract the model, they must have data in a very specific format. For example, if you have missing values, you will get errors, okay? If we look at math, you can multiply 5 times 0, but you cannot multiply 5 times nothing, right? That's undefined. You cannot multiply, or you cannot make operations with nothingness. So this is just one example, right? And if I'm telling you that this is all mathematical representations, math is pretty much numbers. It's not text. So how do I transform numbers into text? Now, typically we need code for that. No-code platforms, they will do all these pre-processing to handle missing values, remove duplicates, deal with outliers, normalize your data to ensure consistent scales. All that will be taken care of by the platform. So you don't have to do it. But it's a step, okay? You cannot miss a step. Whether you code or you don't code, this step is mandatory. Also the feature engineering, like creating maybe new variables to capture maybe some domain-specific insights. That's also something that needs to take place as part of collecting and preparing data. That's called feature engineering. Also dealing with imbalanced data set. Now here it says imbalanced data. Let me explain a little bit what's imbalanced data in a few seconds. Imagine fraud, okay? When you look at the database of all fraud transactions, of all your transactions, A very small percentage will be fraud, okay? So that means that the algorithm can learn a lot of patterns from legit transactions, but because you have so few uh, fraud transactions, that maybe you will not have the pattern you expect. So that's when your data set is imbalanced, when you have a lot of one type of data and very little of another type. That poses a problem. So dealing with imbalanced data, that's also something you have to address, whether coding or without code, okay? And by the way, there are multiple techniques like XCCF class weighting order sampling. I will not get into the details, but it's pretty much adding data, removing data, or just add weights to the different types of data, okay? Now, there's also advanced pre-processing, like reducing the dimensionality. Dimension, think of a dimension as a variable, okay? If you have a table that has a lot of variables, think of every variable as a dimension, okay? Sometimes you have data sets that are huge, that have like hundreds or thousands of variables. In order to improve performance and require less compute, you may want to reduce the number of variables. That's the reason why we have some advanced preprocessing techniques like dimensional reduction, okay? And by the way, here, PCA, TSNE, embeddings, there are tons of different techniques. And then, of course, then the data transformation. Data transformation means that we will transform the actual values of our data so that the algorithm that is being used can extract the most meaningful representations, okay? Now, there are tools here that typically are used with code like Pandas. Pandas is a Python library that data scientists use to do everything I've talked to you about. If you want to know a bit more details, again, this is like even more technical that you might not need. It's precisely all these. This is when you prepare your data. So explore data to gain insights, do feature engineering, feature selection, create the pipeline. So there's a lot more detail here, but again, you might not need it if you apply some association pre-built connectors, okay? Like their robot will do that for you. AutoML can do that for you. Amazon SageMaker Canvas can do that for you, where OpenRefine as well, where you don't need necessarily to do any code. Okay, so far, this is a lot of understanding about the importance of data and starting collecting your data. Then, once you understand your data and if it's complete or not, you may want to choose a platform to do your no-code AI/ML. There are tons of different platforms available. New platforms are being developed. So you want to make sure that based on your budget, based on your current infrastructure, based on your knowledge, based on many different things I'll mention in a second, you want to choose an AI/ML platform, okay? Now, each one of the platforms, they have the unique strengths. And I will mention, I think, like 4 or 5 for you. So selecting the right platform can significantly speed up all your development and can streamline deploying your models. Because that's what you want, right? You have your data, like your marketing data, HR data, operations data, and from that data, you want to produce a model and you want to deploy it so that you can get predictions. That's what you want to do. You want to do it fast. So choosing the right platform is key. Now, there are different things that you need to assess, okay? One is that different platforms support different machine learning approaches. When we look at machine learning and the outputs that a model can produce, the output can produce a continuous value, like let's say predicting temperature or predicting revenue, okay, that's a number that's continuous, or predicting a class, which is discrete, like image classification. I have images and I need to know if this image is a dog or a cat, right? Or maybe recommendation systems. Or there are other techniques to understand the structure of your data, like finding groups, right? Not every platform supports all the approaches. Okay, so I want to make sure that you understand, okay, what I'm trying to solve. Do I need to predict a continuous value, a discrete value? Do I need to understand groups with my data? So that's something you want to think. Most likely that will come from your business problem, business understanding. Okay? There are even some platforms that already have some advanced natural language processing and computer vision approaches. And I will show you, for example, in Google Cloud, and they already have like some pre-built no-code tools for computer vision and for natural language understanding. Also, sometimes there are platforms, they already have their models. Say, hey, listen, you don't have to start from scratch. If you want to do computer vision, we already have these models. You just have to fine-tune them with your data. That has a lot of advantages because typically machine learning may require a lot of data to find patterns. But if there are models that already have found some foundational patterns, maybe you just need to tweak them to understand your own data. So you may want to look at platforms, say, well, maybe I'm looking for some pre-trained models that I can easily deploy and I can just fine tune. Or maybe you want your own, right? So for example, Microsoft AI Builder, they already have a lot of pre-trained solutions for form processing. Google Cloud, they already have pre-built models, pre-trained models for computer vision. But now there are other tools like Data Robot, SageMaker from Amazon, also Google Cloud in which you can enable custom model building. So you can do your own model from scratch without need coding. Other option, something you would see is the deployment. Okay, do you want to deploy on the cloud, on-prem, something hybrid? And also here, something that is very important in these deployment option is considering compliance requirements. For example, in healthcare and finance, okay, for data privacy. And finally, the other thing that you need to assess to choose the right platform is to look for some like pre-built connectors or APIs that you can plug into an ERP or a CRM or any of your business systems. Okay? Now, so in terms of, there are a series of tools that actually can help a lot into exploring like options and how you deploy it, okay? So I will mention these 6. I'll provide a brief description. I'll give you the web pages so that actually you can access and experiment with them. These are some, not extensive, but some popular no-code tools. So I will explain a little bit of, for example, use cases, pros and cons for each. So let's start with Google Cloud. Where do I have Google Cloud? Oh, no, here, okay? Let's start a little bit with Google Cloud. Okay, here's, I already copied the paste, now I copied the link. Google Cloud is great and has great, great models already and interfaces for image recognition, classification, video insights. The advantage is it is very user-friendly. It has a very user-friendly interface, a lot of drag and drop. It can integrate, if your environment is based on cloud platform, it easily integrates with any other cloud services. Google Cloud has amazing performance. It's very, very robust, has a lot of metrics. Now, there are some downsides here. One of them, of course, is the cost, okay? Here, it's also price can be high if you have a very large scale project. They offer free tiers, okay? They actually offer free tiers for you to experiment with it. But if you see, they already have a lot of like text to speech, speech to text, video. I don't know if they have actual audio, but they have image. So they do have a lot of pre-built solutions. But if you see Vertex, what they do is in Vertex, you can do your own custom models. So Google Cloud, again, very robust. They have intentional pricing based on like pay as you go. It's based on how much you use, is how much I will charge you. Okay, so that's Google. Okay, that's the Google's environment. The other one is Teachable. Teachable is also from Google. Okay. Teachable is also from Google. And this is pretty much for you to do very quick prototyping for image, audio, or classification. Now, it is even easier to use. It's even easier to use than Google Cloud. It is mainly for educational purposes. Again, no code required. Now, on the downside, it has limited scalability. If you have a complex model or you have a full-blown, very complex solution to address, it is not viable. But on the positive note, it's free. So all here is actually free. Okay. So that is Teachable Machine, also from Google. Quick experimentation, free of use. They have this other on the platform, Data Robot. By the way, I will speed a little bit because we're running out of time. So Data Robot, this is a lot for advanced predictive analytics. It supports tons of algorithms. It has automated feature engineering, feature cleaning, feature collection. It has a lot of validation tools for data, but it has a higher cost. It takes more technical expertise, not on coding, but on how to use that actual tool, okay? And by the way, this is subscription-based. The price here, it varies based on what you use and how much you use it and the features you use, okay? Then there is Microsoft's AI Builder, okay? Microsoft's AI Builder, it is primarily to integrate with Power Apps from Microsoft with enterprise systems. They do a lot of tasks like form processing and object detection. Benefit, it integrates with Microsoft's ecosystem very easily. It is very user-friendly, has a lot of drag and drop. It is very good for business applications. Okay? Now, for the downside, it has limited customization. And again, it is primarily designed for use it with Microsoft products. It also has a price, and the price varies based on how much you use it. And it's subscription-based, so it's no free. Next one is Amazon SageMaker Canvas. So this helps you build and deploy machine learning models also without any code. If you want a very scalable project, this is your go-to platform, okay? This will give you access to a lot of Amazon Web Services services, including data collection. It has very robust security and compliance. Now, here the downside is that even the fact that it's no code, it can be a little bit complex when you start, okay? Like you need to set up a domain, you need to set up an environment. So you're just setting up, it can be a little bit complex at the beginning, okay? The field is drag and drop, and it's all text. You don't need any code. But again, you need to configure Amazon Web Services. Now, the other downside is that pricing can start adding up like really fast. It's expensive, okay? So I think from all the platforms that we've covered, it's the most expensive. It's also pay as you go, but sometimes even if you don't use it, you get paid just for having a domain creating or even an endpoint, which is how you communicate with a model. Even if you don't use it, you can be paid. Somebody can charge you. Finally, the last tool we're covering here is Lobe. Lobe does require a little bit of code to set it up. It's intuitive, it is good for beginners, and it's free. It's completely free. Now, it is a little bit limited for image classification, so it doesn't have very advanced features, but again, it's free, okay? So that's the third step, which is choosing your platform. Then what you have to do is to actually train the model. It's actually use the platform, right? Is now you will perform all that feature selection to reduce dimensional reduction and improve model performance. You will have to choose your algorithms based on your data and your problem domain. Also, depending if your model is interpretable or not. Neural networks for unstructured data. And in some of these platforms, you don't have to choose. They will tell you, hey, this is the model, the algorithm we're going to be using, okay? This is the part where you actually build and train a model, which means take your business problem, take the data that you need to solve your business problem, look at the platform and dump that data into the platform so the platform starts, doing the feature engineering, clean the data, and start to train the model, okay? So again, this is something that you do not have to actually do, okay? This is a quick example, and by the way, inside Amazon SageMaker, they already have a hands-on example that you can look into for predicting sales data. And they will do everything for you. They will do the pre-processing steps, they will configure parameters, and it will start training the model, okay? After that, you can actually start optimizing your model. You can validate optimize your model. So once the model is being trained, it is very important to ensure that the model is reliable and effective through validation and optimization. Okay. There are different validation methods. One of them is k-fold. And in k-fold, what you do is you split your data set in multiple chunks. Okay, multiple chunks. What you do is you validate your model in each of those chunks. Then you average the performance of your model in each of those chunks. Okay, that's cross-validation. So in other words, you partition the data set into k subsets. K is number, it's an integer. Then the model is trained in all of them except one, and then you use to validate the model through different partitions. Okay, these repeats k amount of times. Okay. So this provides a very robust assessment of model performance across different data segments. You can also perform A/B testing. A/B testing means that you will deploy two versions of your model, Model A and Model B, like A/B testing, to different user groups to compare the performance, like with real data. Okay? So this actually helps you understand and determine which model version gives you better results in real-world scenarios. And of course, you have your performance metrics. You will select your performance metrics that you discussed at the very beginning that will align to your business objectives. For regression tasks, for example, you would use root mean square error or mean absolute error or R squared score. For classification, you will use recall or precision or accuracy, ROC-AUC score. For imbalanced data sets, remember that accuracy doesn't apply. So choose the right metric. And by the way, there are tons of different metrics. And when it comes to optimization, optimization is once you have your model, your algorithm selected, there are some things that you can tweak. Okay, little tweaks like how many iterations you will use for your model to learn. One example, but there are many different hyperparameters. What you do in this process is you start tweaking making slight tweaks. Imagine you have a panel, an equalizer, and you have all these knobs, and you start fine tuning all these knobs to make sure they have the best possible model. So here you'll be adjusting all the parameters that can enhance the model performance. And this includes things like, it says here, grid search that will explore a set of combinations, a defined set of combinations, random search that will randomly sample combinations of parameters to find the right value. There's automated optimization, like their robot has it, Amazon SageMaker has it, Google Cloud has it. When there are some built-in features, like with, again, Data Robot and others that offer this automated tuning. So you don't have to run it, it's, okay, tune my model. And they will start tuning your model. Okay. Also experimenting with a lot of other techniques like and simple learning. And in simple learning is combining predictions from different models to improve. After that, once you have your model, you choose it, then next step is to do actual deploy it. Oh, by the way, this is step 6, not step 5. This is step 6. Deploy monitor a solution after you validate. Now it's a matter of deploying your model into production environment. That is the next step. And then you will start monitoring your model to make sure that it doesn't degrade, because data changes over time. Everything changes. You don't like the same restaurant today, that you like 5 years ago. Maybe a movie that you like when you were a kid, you don't like it that much anymore. So data changes, behaviors change. So that means that your models, they need to be retrained after some period of time. So monitor them. There are different approaches to deploy a solution, which means a way to communicate with your model. There are different strategies. One is with API integrations that you expose your model through an HTTP protocol, okay, through an HTTP endpoint. An endpoint is through HTTP how you talk to something inside a server, right, or a computer. So you can expose that endpoint, so people will send information to that endpoint. That endpoint through HTTP will communicate to the server, to your model, and through HTTP will give you a response back. This is the most common way to deploy through API endpoints, because that allows integration with applications like CRM systems, e-commerce platforms and stuff. Another one is implementing CI/CD pipelines so that any updates in the model can be managed, ensuring that your model is all up to date. Another approach is using containers to package the model and all its dependencies into a container. And then finally is monitoring, right? So there are multiple tools, open source, Tableau, Power BI, Grafana, Prometheus, where you can actually visualize the real-time model performance and metrics and predictions. Some of these tools, they don't require any code either. In tools like Amazon SageMaker, Google Cloud, they provide already tools to monitor your models. And even you can set up alerts every time that you reduce a performance threshold, for example, so that you get an email notification like, hey, by the way, your model is not getting the performance that it used to get, so you may want to do something. And based on that, there are also workflows to maybe retrain a model to collect new data and then do all the process over again. So before I pass it over, no-code platforms now are changing the landscape, okay? It's getting easier, it's a lot more accessible to a lot more people. And with this structured approach, by defining the problem, preparing data, looking at platform, training, deploying, monitoring, you can start using all AI to actually start doing something amazing, okay? So I would like to pass it over to our host, but thank you very much for your attention, and let's go and start answering some questions.
Yeah. So we'll come to the questions in a bit. I think with the link that you shared in the beginning, uh, yeah, the collab research. So I guess there's the public access is not available. So a lot of learners had concern with that. Um,
Well, it is open to anyone with the link, so try using incognito. If you're using a VPN, you
okay.
may get restriction based on your corporate policies. But if you cannot access this link directly, go to incognito mode,
Oh, okay.
and then you should be able to access.
All right, all right. Got it, got it, got it. So before we proceed to taking questions, let me just quickly ask you guys as to what exactly is stopping you from becoming an AI engineer or a machine learning engineer, right? So I'm just going to launch this very quick poll. Can I share my screen now, Armando? Is that,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, right. Because I'm going to be telling them how this particular course addresses the concerns that our learners have. But for that, let me just take a very quick survey of what exactly the problem here. Some of you feel skills is a problem. Some of you feel you don't have the practical exposure. You're not able to find the right course to upskill or the right strategy to adopt to shift domains. Yes, we've got that question as well. So we'll take that question in just a while we talk about this course and how it helps you understand some of the no-code tools that you saw today. Yeah. So this particular program is launched in collaboration with Purdue University online, and you get a certificate, along with Simplilearn. I mean, as a combination. So you receive the certificate from Purdue University and Simplilearn. Okay, so what exactly happens in this course is that you are able to understand how you can build machine learning models with no-code tools. So Armando, if you can just take them through this course, and you are also one of the trainers for this particular program, right? So maybe just a quick brief on the curriculum and how it exactly can help someone who is from a non-tech background or from a tech background to shift to machine learning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as a matter of fact, what we do in the actual course is, remember all those steps that I listed? It's
Yeah.
actually diving into exactly how to apply all those steps. I mean, of course, you can look at, like YouTube or Ask ChatGPT, but what we do is actually, okay, how do you go through all these steps? We evaluate some tools. We actually have hands-on exercises. We'll also provide you with data so I can actually start using it. So it's pretty much going through all those different steps, applying it with data that we provide to you.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. So some of them feel that they don't have the practical exposure to become job ready, or we also got a question on how someone from a non-IT domain can understand the context of these terms. Basically just understand the language of the course and in general the tools and the process. So how does one really upskill from scratch? When someone has no background.
Well, absolutely. So again, there are like two different approaches. One is, of course, your role with a project that will give you a structured approach with all the definitions.
Yeah.
Or you can do it like on your own. Now, there's an advantage of doing it on your own, like browsing the web or asking ChatGPT or Claude or looking at YouTube. And it's that pretty much you direct the knowledge that you want to learn. The disadvantage, you can get lost, in all the knowledge available today. Another one is taking a program. In these programs, you will find a very structured approach with exactly what terminology you need to understand and how to apply it. I think that's the biggest difference. I mean, both approaches are valid. It's up to you and how much time you have, and also if you prefer like a structured approach or an unstructured approach.
Got it. Got it. So, I mean, you can follow either of the approaches that you want, but this course gives you a structured approach of learning and, upskilling. Right. So, of course, we did cover some of these tools that, we spoke about today, and you will also be accessing, real-time data sets, and you'll be doing projects. So, could you also explain just an example of one project and how that's relevant in the real world?
Well, first, now most systems rely on AI models, right? So instead of hard coding rules, now we're relying on models. So in terms of real world examples, I think I mentioned a lot of them, like customer segmentation, marketing, but even when it comes to, let's say, legal document analysis, okay,
Mhm.
or summarization. I need to summarize like this book. I need to summarize these articles. Maybe you want to create, you want to predict if someone might quit or not, and maybe you want to retain talent. You
Right.
may want to predict if a potential opportunity, a sales opportunity, is likely to be closed or not. So there are tons of different there are really a lot of different use cases for artificial intelligence, and that's how you integrate it into like real world scenarios. Again, there are tons. Again, I can just have like hours of conversation about like real world use cases, but I think we mentioned enough covering different areas of expertise.
Right. Got it. Great, great. I think that addresses the concern of most people that said uh, that you don't have practical exposure. Hopefully, with this course in place, you will be able to understand and practice and also learn from from the trainer live, and also do your project with the help of your trainer. So I'm just going to head to questions, and while we talk about the questions here, I'm going to launch another poll taking your interest in the program. So if you'd like to be contacted by a learning advisor, just click a yes, and they'll help you with the financing options and the fees. Yeah. So quickly, let's head to questions because we are, about to close the session. Yeah. So let me take one question here. Okay, Vipul has a question. After 15 years of experience in audits, which has all the usage of data, shall AI and ML practically uh, can have my utilization to the next level in the domain of audit and loss prevention and data safety? So how are these two domains different? Yeah, he's confused about whether it's actually going to be relevant for him to upskill in AI and ML and use it in his domain of audit and data loss prevention and safety.
Okay, so I think that I can address multiple of these questions at the same time, because I see this question, I see a question like, how do I apply these
Yeah,
to like telecom, and do we have any other use cases? How likely is it higher this skill? So let me address all these questions all together.
yeah.
First, yes, you can definitely upscale, because now to your domain expertise, whether
Mm,
it's telecom or audit or loss protection or fraud or marketing, to your expertise, you're adding another tool, which is
mm,
AI ML. Okay,
mm,
so now you don't have to rely on data scientists and business and data analysts to drive insights from your data and to be able to tell you what's going to happen next. So this is
correct.
another skill you're adding to your domain expertise. So is it more likely to be hired if you have like no code experience? Absolutely. Because as a domain expert, you will not say, hey, I am an AI ML expert. You will say, hey, I'm a domain expert. And by the way, I know how to tackle problems related to audit, loss prevention, fraud, marketing, telecom. I know how to tackle these specific problems using artificial intelligence.
Mm, mm,
That is just an amazing skill that will give you the edge versus any other people in your domain without AI knowledge.
understood. Understood. So one of the first questions that came in is, I want to build tools like responsive.io, Quibidian, pop.ai, etc. Will I be able to do these without coding?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Hmm.
you can do actually all that you can do without coding if you select the right platform. Yeah, I mean, remember, take a look at whether if you're doing, deep learning, like, computer vision, audio, text, you processing, you can do everything with no code. It's a matter of the platform that you choose, okay? Not every platform has all the functionality. So there are tons of platforms. Someone actually mentioned Daiku, I'm sure,
Yeah.
H2O, Daiku, Rapidminder. There are tons of applications. Again, I mentioned just like 6 that are
Hmm.
popular, but
Yeah.
it's not limited. There are dozens, if not hundreds of applications being developed. So it's a matter of you choosing the right platform to help you do whatever you want to do.
Right. Got it. Got it. Another person anonymously is asking, are we going to do any deep learning? I'm assuming in the course or as a part of no code AI development. I'm not sure what the question is,
Uh,
but I think, yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, wait, so so again, this is no code, right? So remember, deep learning is another type of algorithm that you use
Mhm.
for unstructured data, mainly like audio, text, video, images. Uh, so because this is no code, you are not going to create a neural network
Yeah,
manually. What you will do is you will use platforms that leverage on deep learning to create a model. So that's the difference.
yeah, got it. Someone is asking, how can I join this course? All you have to do is click a yes on the poll and wait for the learning advisor to call you. I think we'll take a couple of last questions because we're already over time. Armando, a quick argument to what you said earlier. So a lot of you said that this is a skill that a lot of organizations and in your domain it's necessary that you have this skill and you don't have to depend on data scientists. But Vipul says, companies nowadays prefer to pay an IT consultant rather than hiring, a domain professional. So, how does one really go about navigating such situations and find opportunities?
So again, it's because you're adding this to your toolbox.
Yeah,
Um, now, so yes, there's always going to be in large organizations the need for IT consultants because they need to set the infrastructure that you will not set up. You will not set the infrastructure. You will not be setting up the servers. You will not be dealing with authentication. There are many things that you don't do because this AIML is to create a model, deploy it. But there are other aspects that are outside of your scope, which is like authentication or maybe like very complex integration. So there is always going to be the need for like IT consultants, but what
hmm,
gives you the edge here is that you are the domain expert. The IT
yeah,
consultant is not expert in HR, is not expert in marketing, is not expert in business operations. You are. So you're
true.
bringing this new skill. Like, hey, by the way, yes, I'm an expert in marketing. By the way, I know how to do AI and ML. And you will touch base with the IT consultants, of course. So
Mhm.
it's not that you will be replaced. It's the fact that you're going to bring something new to the table. Okay.
Correct, correct. So it's more of a collaborative role rather than, cannibalizing each other. Okay, I
Agreed.
think we've answered that question. Someone who's posted about how these are useful in the domains that you've mentioned. I think we just addressed that, collectively for all questions combined. Armando, if you have any closing thoughts, because we're just going to be collecting a quick poll on how they liked the session, and we'll wrap up the session. So, any closing thoughts you have about how to upscale and what their next steps should be? Armando, do you have any closing thoughts for learners on how?
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so yes, I was going to say. So my recommendation is, listen, do it. Whether, and again, I know that maybe this is something I shouldn't say, but whether with Simplilearn or somewhere else, do it. There is an increasing need of people that acquire AI ML expertise, and this will not slow down. If you actually look at job descriptions in platforms like LinkedIn, you will see that AI ML is increasing. So take a dive, experiment, use it, look at the platforms animation, and experiment so that you can actually start grasping with your own hands the potential of AI ML. Don't be afraid of jumping in. This is
Mm,
a skill that you can acquire unbelievably fast. In weeks, you can start creating your own AI ML model. So do it. Find the avenue and do it. That would be my last piece of advice because we need more people like you that is interested, that can apply AI ML to solve real world problems. So that means my passive advice. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for our hostess and
thank you.
and
Thank you,
hopefully
Armando.
I'll see you again. Mhm.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much, Armando, for your time as well. We've got one last question, I think, which is, I think, a very good question. Performance-wise, is there any difference between no code and code, with code?
Well, in reality, when you have with code, you can tweak a little bit more. You have more control over the performance. Whereas in no code, there are many aspects that you can't control. Now, in terms of performance, it all depends on the choice of algorithm. But if you compare like side by side, like if I do a if I code all the algorithm versus a no code and they are identical in parameters, there's pretty much no difference. But you have a little bit more flexibility if you code, like for example, how you could be distributing computations. Okay, in a no code platform, they decide that for you. But yeah, in reality, if you compare side by side, the parameters are identical, the data is identical, the techniques are identical. There is no difference.
Got it. All right, great. So I think thanks so much everyone for giving us a 5. I'm so glad that we could see people entering what they would like to see next and how they'd like us to do better. Thanks so much for that. And I'm ending this poll as well. And very quickly, I'm going to be launching a poll for collecting your names for the webinar certificate. So please make sure your name is entered accurately because that's how it's going to be displayed on the certificate as well. Yeah. And I've also shared the link to the course. There are other links that Armando also had shared during the session. So please make sure you take note of them, bookmark them, and use it later for your reference. Yeah. So make sure the links are saved somewhere else that you don't miss them. Great. And if there are any final questions, you could post them on the Q&A box and we'll take them in the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, we'll wrap up the session. Yes, so you will receive the recording to the session. People watching us on LinkedIn, you could just watch the live stream once again. But people watching us on Zoom, you will receive the recording and the certificate tomorrow. No, because we won't be sharing the deck here. Okay, someone's asking about. Yeah. Bharati, so this particular course fee is, I think, applicable in the US region. You can still reach out to a learning advisor through the course page and check discounts that are available right now. Unfortunately, I'm not the right person to help you with the discounts. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for your entries. I'm also leaving and dropping in the support ID for webinars in case there are concerns with recording a certificate. Please drop an email to webinars@simplilearn.net and we'll solve your concern. Great. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining in. It was great hosting this session. Thanks, Armando, once again for being a part of this session. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.